Hi Cancer, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy, and this is your general reading for the first half of October 2019. This is for the water sign of Cancer, Cancer Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus sign, or if you are cross-watching for a Cancer. Although, as many of you know, general readings always resonate a little differently for everybody watching, so you should watch all of your signs if you know them and if you can. Your sun sign, rising sign, moon sign, and Venus sign. It can provide additional clarification that can be helpful in any decisions you need to make moving forward in whatever your circumstances are. Thanks to everyone for tuning in today, and welcome newcomers, first timers, and welcome back to followers and subscribers. Thanks for all of your time and feedback and comments and likes and shares and subscribes. And thanks to all of my clients out there as well for keeping me so busy all of the time, and for so many of you returning time and time again. It's such an honor and a pleasure. Thank you. If any of you are interested in scheduling a personal reading with me, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. I can usually respond to your initial inquiry within the same day or the first 24 hours. You can email me at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. And the timing for the scheduling of the readings is pretty good too. I do readings full time, 6 days a week. It's all that I do. I'm quite blessed to be able to do that. So I'm pretty diligent at working with everyone's schedules and my own to try and get you readings as quickly as we can. So email me if you're interested, and we'll move on from there. Okay, Cancer, let's see what is coming in the first half of October 2019 for our lovely crabs, our Cancerians, Cancer. Okay, Cancer, we begin with my favorite major arcana card, the Fool, followed by the Lovers, the Two of Swords, followed by the Hierophant. From the bottom of the deck, overall energy is the Hermit. So your overall energy, Cancer, for the first 2 weeks of October is the Hermit. You have an extraordinary spread here. You have 4 major arcana cards: the Hermit, the Fool, the Lovers, and the Hierophant. So whatever this situation is for you, it's significant. It's profound. I think many of you, this is a relationship, probably somebody you feel very passionately connected to, with the Lovers here. The Lovers can also represent needing to make a pretty significant, important decision, perhaps in the relationship area of your life. It could be about this relationship, or it could be a decision that's going to significantly impact and affect this relationship. The Hermit can represent taking some time to think about things. Maybe not going out as much or being as social. Maybe you're spending more time to yourself. Because the Hermit, while we can have people that love us and support us, they can't make a certain decision for us. What do hermits do? Hermits, monks, monastics, they withdraw temporarily or for long periods of time from the day-to-day distractions of the day-to-day world we live in. Why do they do this? They do this to seek out insight, wisdom, guidance in something. And in order to do that, they sort of take a step back and remove themselves so they're not distracted by outside things, because they're seeking wisdom and insight on something, trying to figure out their way through something, or trying to get some insight and clarity on something. So it looks like for the first half of October, many of you are in this space, in this energy of trying to figure out what to do about something. I think how to proceed. Maybe you're feeling kind of stuck. So we have the Fool and the Lovers here. The Fool, my favorite major arcana card. This is the first major arcana card in the tarot. He has the 0 at the top of his card. He's just getting ready to start off on his life's journey. All the cards after the Fool are about his journey through life, which is our journey through life. How we learn and change and grow and evolve, through success, through failure, trial and error, you name it. until we get to the last major arcana card in the deck, which is the World, which represents completion of a major cycle and where you're going on to another one, and then it begins again. So the Fool represents being at the beginning, looking at the promise and potential of what lies ahead, being excited about it. But the Fool steps off the beaten path. Why does he do this? He takes risks. He does things he's never done before in a way he's never done before. He walks in faith. He totally takes a risk and steps off the path. Why does he do this? He does this in order to see what's there, to explore the potential, the promise of what this path, what he might attain along this path, and where this path might eventually lead. So it can represent walking in faith, taking a leap of faith, taking a risk, making a completely different decision here that may be completely different than any decisions you've made before in this relationship, or perhaps in your relationship life. For instance, if your relationship is at a crossroads point, because I think for many of you this is, but it could be a decision in another area of your life that might affect this significant, passionate connection you have with somebody else. It could represent making a decision that's different than the decision you would normally have made in this situation. Some of you, I think the Fool represents making a completely different type of decision than maybe your head might be telling you, because the Fool doesn't necessarily follow his head. He follows where he feels led, particularly his heart. The Lovers is about making that choice, that decision. It's about that very significant, strong, likely very passionate connection you feel with someone. In a romantic relationship, this would be somebody you guys, there's no lack of heat in this relationship. And it's also a divine energy as well. This is definitely a karmic connection. It could be a twin flame for some of you. So it's about making a decision. And I feel like a lot of you are spending some time either in a very physical way or in a very internal way. You know, there's a lot of internal reflection. What do I do? What do I use as the light to guide my way through this? Because you're at a crossroads. Maybe some of you. There's a decision that needs to be made. And this is, I feel, particularly looking at how many major arcana cards here, this is significant. It looks like and feels like, I got this from somebody else. Who was it? Aries? This feels like whatever decision you make is really going to set the stage, like the card Judgment, although it's not here, could really set the stage. It could make a huge difference in this relationship, or I suppose end it for those of you who are considering that, or moving on with it. But I feel like it could change a pattern you normally have within the relationship area of your life, maybe a pattern of making certain types of decisions in situations like this. I think you maybe have the chance to break from that and do something different. It might be scary, it might feel risky with the Fool here, and you feel a bit stuck because we have the Two of Swords and the Hierophant. The Two of Swords is a card about perhaps not seeing something in front of you, ignoring something in front of you. The Moon, the vague outline of the Moon here, the Moon often represents stirrings kind of way down deep, spiritual intuition, the connection to the divine. Some people call it intuition, some people call it their higher self, some people call it gut instinct. And I feel like the swords crossed over that in the blindfold often represents an unwillingness, a reluctance or a resistance to dealing with looking at something directly, because if you take the blindfold off and look at something directly, then you have to acknowledge that it's there and you have to do something about it. Make a decision one way or the other, or make a decision that you're just not going to. Now what clarifies it is the Hierophant, which is a card of convention, tradition, walking the prescribed path. In relationships, this would be, dating, meeting the parents, getting engaged, getting married. The Hierophant can represent religion, organized institutions, corporations, being under the same umbrella that a large conventional group of people are, doing things the way that everybody else does them. It's one of the marriage cards. In relationships, it would represent taking something to a deeper level of responsibility and commitment, and it is sitting right next to the Lovers. Some of you maybe in a relationship, maybe you've decided or been feeling like it needs to go to the next step, that that's the right thing to do. Maybe get married. Maybe you or the other person wants to, and you or the other person doesn't want to. And perhaps there's a significant decision to be made here. Well, if I feel like this is the right thing to do, is my partner on board? Is my partner not on board? And if so, how do we proceed? And if they're not on board with me, then what does that mean? What decisions will I have to make? And if this is really, if the Hierophant represents what you feel is the right thing to do in this situation, regardless of whether it's about marriage, regardless of what it's about, it's a general reading. The Hierophant, whatever this traditional path is, could mean, a few different things. How invested are you in what the Hierophant represents? It looks like a lot of you feel like you need to make a very significant decision about this relationship with someone you feel very passionately connected to, very, karmically twin flame connected to. I feel like you feel led to take it to a certain place, but there's a sense of maybe being stuck. Maybe your partner's not on board with that, or vice versa, and you don't really want to, or feel you're not ready to look at that yet, because maybe you'd have to make the decision to leave. So I feel like you're in this kind of space where you're really trying to get insight. It feels like a bit of a struggle, Cancer. It's like you're looking at this and then you look away, you don't want to look at it. And then you're looking back at it, trying to get, that hermit energy and look at it. Okay, well then if there's this and there's this, well, I don't want to look at that yet. That's kind of the energy, but then you keep getting drawn back to it. It's like you can't ignore it. There's something a decision that needs to be made here, and it's pretty significant in your relationship life, whether with this person or anybody else after. Let's pull a clarifying card for this Two of Swords. What are you feeling stuck at, or not wanting to look at, or afraid of looking at? Which way to go? To clarify the Two of Swords, we have the Two of Wands. Definitely at a crossroads. What do I do about this situation? If I want to take it to what this represents and my partner doesn't, then what does that mean? How much do I believe in this? If it's vice versa, again, what does that mean? How do we move forward, if we even can? If so, do I need to go in the other direction? Do I need to leave? I feel like because there's so many major arcana cards here, I don't feel like I'm not sure I feel like this decision needs to be made within this particular period of time. I mean, it's coming up, so obviously a decision has to be made, but I feel like it's more about taking an honest look at it. Some of you may be making this significant decision about this relationship in the first half of October. I just don't feel for some of you that this relationship, like it's ready yet, like it's done yet. I mean, and I don't really believe in telling people what to do. I like to give as much information and as much message as I can so that you can make the best decision possible. Some of you may be like, well, if I don't want to go to that place, or if they don't want to go to that place and I do, then I need to end this. I mean, we live in a free will zone, as I always say. You can make whatever decision you want to. But I feel like Spirit is saying that there's still more to come, or a bit more to be revealed here. I don't feel like this situation is done, even if you're like, well, if this isn't going to happen, then I need to go my own way. I feel like things are still brewing or simmering or baking, All right, let's pull some advice for this energy during this period of time for Cancer. Advice and guidance for Cancer. The Hanging Man and the Wheel of Fortune. The Hanging Man is about not taking definitive action just yet. Why? Because things are still playing out. And while you're hanging back, even though you may want to rush in and do this and force this and maneuver and manipulate or rush an outcome, he hangs back because he understands that this is transitional, it's temporary. Divine timing and orchestration is at play. Things are still playing out. And while he's hanging there, manifesting the Hanging Man energy and the Hermit energy, he may be gaining a different perspective as well. The Wheel of Fortune, divine timing and orchestration, strongly at play. God, Spirit, your angels and guides are still working with this relationship. It's definitely still working on this relationship. I don't feel like this is done yet. I feel like there is still, things are still playing out. You can make a definitive decision one way or the other during this 2-week period of time. But even then, I think things are still playing out. I really feel like some of you are thinking of making a decision, or maybe you feel like there's a specific decision you're being led to make, but it would be a decision that you, in the past, you have a pattern of making a different type of decision. And so whatever it is you feel compelled to do here, feeling stronger and stronger led to do here, would be breaking a pattern that you have of what you normally would have done in a situation like this. So I feel like that's something to kind of mull over. And if so, ask yourself what it is that you are afraid of. Yeah, more will be revealed. I don't think Spirit's done with this yet. So Cancer, that is your reading for the first half of October 2019. I hope you found it at least not confusing and somewhat helpful. The advice is pretty clear that Spirit is saying, look, just hang back. We're doing stuff here. But of course, free will zone. Different path, different lessons. So hang tight for those of you who can. So that's your reading, Cancer. If this reading resonated with you, or if any of the readings do, and you'd like to take a look at setting up a personal reading, you can click on the description link below for more info and contact details. Email me directly at maggie1maguire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I offer love and romance readings, relationship compatibility, career, work and finance, investments, 6 and 12-month life overviews, gift readings, a wide variety of readings in all the main areas of life. So if you're interested, you can send me an email and we will go from there. I will see you all again. And you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and all that information you can get by clicking the description link below, or you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage and click on the About button there. I'll see you all again in a couple of weeks, Cancer, for the October 2019 mid-month readings. Until then, as always, I wish you much joy, peace, love, strength, and healing. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.